It's believed at this hour, and it's been confirmed to ABC News by state police there in Connecticut, that 2 shooters were initially believed involved in the mass shooting. One of those shooters now dead.
New court documents reveal that 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz confessed to police that he was the gunman who shot up Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School here, killing 17 people.
John 911, what's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here. Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay.
They're still running. They're still shooting. Sandy Hook School, please.
Gun violence, like all violence, is indiscriminate. It is a problem we all risk, a problem we all share, and a problem we can all do something to solve.
So last week I went to Tates Creek High School to try and visit and do some interviews with some teachers. And in the previous years, I had always seen students who returned just being able to walk to any class that they wished to without being questioned or stopped. But whenever I entered I talked to the new principal, Mr. Mills, he had said that he had increased the security measures due to things that had been going around, like the Parkland shooting, and that I had to previously email him and ask for an invitation to come and do interviews. So I wasn't able just to enter to the school. So I did that, and then here are some interviews.
So yes, I do. And I think that there's issues with mental health that are not being taken care of. And many people have mental health issues. So I do think that needs to be taken care of. Background checks to me are really important, especially since we are in a school.
Yeah, they do need more extensively looked into, especially trying to find ways to weed out mental illness with, background check doesn't really cover that.
So I think if it's controlled outside of the school, then why in school do I need to have protection? I think it would be crazy to arm the teachers. I have never held a gun, never shot a gun. I would be the one, I feel like, that would accidentally shoot somebody. But I also think if it's locked up and you forget to lock it up, there's actually was something just in the news about, then I feel like a kid could get it. That's crazy to me. Also think metal detectors do nothing, it doesn't catch everything. So obviously if it's done outside of any building, even a courthouse or anything, then we don't have to deal with it in school. I should not have to always think about that when I come into a school.
I would say there needs to be one entry point for all students, which we have, but there needs to be a better way of searching students, like having metal detectors or bag searches when they enter the building would probably be helpful.
The current background checks as we see them only require no past criminal records and that you are of age to purchase either the handgun or the long gun that you wish to purchase. What we'd like to see with background checks is that a state permit be required so that we can look at mental health issues and past issues, maybe with your school record or anything else that's happened in the past, so that we can declare whether or not you should be able to purchase a weapon and have a weapon and carry a weapon in the United States. The 20-year-old Adam Lanza killed 20 children between 6 and 7 years old while entering the school right at the start of the day. Adam Lanza had no previous criminal records and was of course of age to be able to buy a semi-automatic assault rifle as he did. People who knew Adam knew that he suffered from Asperger's syndrome, depression, anxiety, and OCD. A person of his condition should not be able to wield a weapon just for this exact reason, because they could at any moment pop off and have a reaction. When going to purchase the weapon, he had no problem, like I said before, because he is of age and he had no criminal record and was just easily able to walk in, get the background check, purchase the weapon and the ammunition like nothing had ever happened before. With intensified background checks, they could have easily looked at his record and his hospital records and noticed that he did have some kind of mental disability, which could, in fact, lead him to do stuff irrationally out of nowhere. If background checks were increased, this could have been seen, and we could have prevented him from ever being able to purchase a weapon. For my final example, we'll talk about the Parkland, Florida shooter, which was Nikolas Cruz, who went in February 2018 and killed many of his classmates. Nikolas Cruz was 19 and was able to legally purchase his own weapon and his own ammunition to do his job. Like the Sandy Hook shooter, he had no criminal record, and he was of the age to be able to purchase the weapon, so he had no problem going in, getting the background check, and walking out with the gun. He was known around school to be a real troublemaker and often was seen on social media, named the school shooter on YouTube, and then he also talked a lot about killing animals and just killing in general. He had been expelled from school and was in serious trouble with teachers for being rude and disrespectful. There was even an FBI call that someone made out to the FBI to talk about Cruz and his irrational behavior. She spoke about how he could seriously be a problem in the future because of how he acted towards other people. With intensified background checks, this could have been detected and it could have been stopped. That would have seen that he was crazy and that he acted irrationally towards other people and how he acted about killing, and could have stopped him from buying a weapon.
I found out today that there's a website called shootingtracker.com. Nothing in the title suggests that it is exclusively tracking the USA's shootings, and yet, does it need to address that? Because Australia had one mass shooting in 1999 and Port Arthur massacre introduced gun safety, and they haven't had one since. Japan has never had a mass shooting. Canada has had 3, and the UK had 1, and they both introduced gun control, and yet here we are with websites dedicated to reporting these tragedies so that they can be formulated into statistics at your convenience. I watched an interview this morning and noticed that one of the questions was, do you think your children will have to go through other school shooter drills? And our response is that our neighbors will not have to go through other school shooter drills when we have had our say with the government, and maybe the adults have gotten used to saying it is what it is. But if us students have learned anything, it's that if you don't study, you will fail. And in this case, if you actively do nothing, people continually end up dead. So it's time to start doing something.
Small but meaningful actions can create lasting change. So if you have 5 minutes, have a conversation with your children over the dinner table about gun violence prevention. If you have 2 hours, host a discussion with other parents. If you can dedicate 1 day a month, work with educators in your community about how to identify children who may be troubled and get them help. But doing nothing is not an option.